see if anything new has been released yet. Wouldn't Chinooks be too risky for an initial insert against a country that has some air defence? Yeah, Benny, mate, you'd want a lot of that air defence suppressed before you're putting in Chinooks. So that probably tells you a lot if they're willing to deploy Chinooks in. To what degree that the air defence has been deteriorated, but again, we will see. There is footage of anti-air. Right, let me know if you see where I can find footage of the anti-air.
Damn, we're getting them up, bro.
Tim Houston literally just said, we don't know what to do yet, to wait. Jack Wish says, the fabled Chinese aggression we need to, is this the fabled Chinese aggression we need to curtail? Yeah, that's how they'll frame it, I guess. Joey Kennedy says, do you think Trump has looked at what Russia is doing and what China is planning so we can do this ourselves? The worst decision for them. This is a terrible decision for America, especially Trump supporters, in my opinion. Look, countries learn off each other of how this goes, and I think that China has looked at the cost of what would occur in Taiwan and has either delayed or indefinitely stopped actually plans onto Taiwan. Could it be part of China playing 5D chess, tie up Euro, US in Ukraine, distracted by Israel, Venezuela, tie up with Venezuela? Look, swapper, I wouldn't say that it's China playing 5D chess. I think China's been handed a lot of opportunity to do that. China hasn't tied up these states. These states have tied themselves up. Zach says, is US turning rogue right now, taking on sacred vessels, disregarding international law, talking about Greenland, slowing Venezuela? Mate, America's acting very much like a great power with not much restrictions on it. But yeah, it's turning away a lot of friendly nations. Virus Adversaries says, fill me in, Willie. Do we know why this war is happening? I'd rather wait for passing judgment. Why this is happening? Well, look, it's not just a singular reason. At the end of the day, war is to influence politics. That is war at the end of the day. So as far as everything from trying to have it.
As someone that lives in Pennsylvania, this war means my factory is going to be cranking and more factories will open.
Coup of the government to try and install a new government, get on top of cartels, get on top of trafficking. There's a shitload of oil. There's a Chinese buying the oil. Again, it's not just one smoking gun that we can actually point to. Right, let me have a look if there's been anything new. Remember, let me know if you guys see something. It'd be interesting to see what Venezuela's initial response actually is. We will get a better idea as we go.
They throw up their hands and cry.
Have they landed any troops?
$200 to it.
Invade New Zealand. Well, New Zealand should invade Australia. Any news footage so far? No, not that I've seen. It's only been an hour and a bit, though. Then we'll get a better idea. The last bit of footage that I've seen is that it's either a little bird or a patchy. It doesn't really matter. Fire pressure off, so we had a bit of machine gun fire. What I haven't seen is I haven't seen anything from the Venezuelan forces yet. But as people saying, the US is starting the New Year's off with a bang. Yeah, absolutely. Venezuela has apparently managed to scramble Su-30 aircraft. It's unclear if they're engaging forces yet. We'll get a better idea. Someone called Oslo, Trump deserted himself a Nobel Peace Prize. Right, someone has shared some very wonky footage, but it does appear potentially that there's ospreys overhead as well. So a screenshot from one of the bits of footage, if this is an osprey. We'll get a better idea. As far as troop deployment, this is purely just a decapitation strike with SF against Maduro, or if we'll see a larger landing force. Confirmation. People say citizens report loss of comms. Again, what this will do is this just further grows this divide between these, depends what you want to call it, axis of upheaval, global south, whatever you want to call it. It just has this growing divide between states that we are seeing, and then where this goes, well, we don't know. Could it end up in a hot war with major states? Absolutely, it could. Looks like an osprey from still we just showed. Yeah, I think it's likely there could be ospreys. Ospreys are probably more dangerous than the guns getting shot around at the moment, to be honest. What I'll be interested in is when the other world leaders, the Australians and the Europeans and this and that, how they are actually going to respond to this. I actually messed up before. I put a poll in the chat, but then the thing went down. So let's go back to this, because I did put in, okay, is this just poll? Right, there we go. Start a poll. Now you can have a vote on that if you'd like. Right. Pointerish says, US being the US, I grew up hearing about the Nicaraguan oppositions currently having wet dreams about what's happening in Nicaragua. Mate, no one's surprised by this. We knew, and I put up a meme about this, but as soon as we saw weapons of mass destruction, coups, we just knew it was happening. Someone says you don't have to fear about going out of a job in the future. Yeah, I know, but I'd like a bit of a break. It'd be a nice day when the world is in peace and I can delete WhatsApp and Signal and Telegram and everything on my phone. Drug war, Willies, or just...
Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
Benjamin, thank you for the donation, mate. Look, I don't doubt that there is a lot of drug smuggling and cartels and this and that going in Venezuela. I absolutely have no doubt of that at all. But is this creating that justification, casus belli, provocation for further action? In my opinion, yeah. That's how all the think tanks, the states, all of this is like, look, it's not perfect. Maduro's, maybe not the bloke you want to have a beer with and hang out. But at the end of the day, how far are we willing to go? And how much influence is this going to have on midterms? How much influence is this going to have on how, as far as you see this, whether you agree with these actions or not, the way this makes people see America is really, really poor. If you're not interested in what you see is that America is now bombing the living hell out of a capital.
Yeah, goddamn right. Andrew, fucking pussy ass Australian, bro. What the fuck? Bro, every American sitting there like, fuck yeah, motherfucker. That's why we pay taxes. We could bomb bitch ass niggas like y'all.
The funny thing is,
if we want to.
Carlo,
when we want to.
This a couple of years ago, I said, we're in World War III. We just don't realise it yet. The World War III is not going to look like 1 or 2 with these hot wars, great states fighting, but you're going to have proxy wars in so many different areas that great states have influence in. So you're going to have a war here and a war here. So you might have China and Taiwan and America and Venezuela and Russia and Ukraine, and then opposing this like warm, cold war. And there's a war basically everywhere in the world at the moment, in every continent, basically. Of course, not all of them, but there's war in a lot of areas. I think that we probably will look back in a couple of decades and say, well, that was when all the great powers had an influence in war somewhere. Tricky Mickey, love you, miss you. I miss you too, Tricky Mickey. Thank you, mate, for the donation. Appreciate that one. Guys, again, there's no need to donate, but if you do feel the need to, if you're that way inclined to pay, comment is actually the best way.
You know, every one of those people that sit there and say, you know, we didn't sign up for war, we didn't blah, blah, blah. Every single one of those soldiers that go to those boot camps and enlist into the military, their main goal is to go and get it. And when they ain't going and getting it, that's even worse. Yes, there are bad things that come with it, with mental problems and all that other shit that happens. Yes. But that's what they fucking signed up to do, man.
Maduro has ordered all national defense plans to be implemented at the appropriate time and circumstances. What do you think? Do we think that this is going to be a decapitation strike over in 24 hours, or is this going to get locked in to something much longer? DeMarcus says, get ready for Albo to bring in Venezuelan migrants. A Venezuelan defense minister's residence has been hit from Christ Kebab, so we'll wait on that. But again, you know, this is the playbook. You destabilise areas, then bring people in. We've seen that again and again. Funker has about 5 videos right now. The Funker's X, I couldn't see anything new on it. I'll have a look. I'll have a look at my phone quickly while we're going. Right, let me have a look. What are we doing? Yeah. So do you think we have vote? I'll give it a couple more minutes and we'll do the vote. So Trump approved Venezuelan strikes days beforehand. President Trump gave the US military the green light to conduct land strikes in Venezuela days before the actual operation occurred, according to 2 senior US officials who spoke to CBS. They spoke the mission on Christmas Day. The US airstrikes in Nigeria against IS took precedence. Right, let's have a look. It seems like a lot of the footage that came really rolling out quick has slowed down. The reason for this would be that people have reported, at least people have been saying it, that a lot of the communications is out, which is one of the first things that would be cut in this. So I'm not surprised to see a slowing down of footage. Again, things will starting to be released. Let me know if we do see Trump make any statements. He won't be able to help himself but sprout off something on truth.com at some point, truth.com. Chinese delegation reported in Maduro's place. I've seen someone suggest that, but I'm not sure. Yeah, people reporting outages for internet largely slowed things down. Yeah, absolutely. Growler doing Growler things here. For those unaware, Growler's basically an electronic warfare variant of a F-18 fighter aircraft. Is there a naval blockade? Not particularly, but there is a naval presence. Right. Nicolas Maduro, yeah, ordered all plans. God, if I knew this was going to happen today, I wouldn't have spent my whole morning making a video. What Tarangepe says, Happy New Year's, Willie. Guest piece is delayed for another year. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thank you for the donation too. Appreciate that. No need to do that. I can't believe you weren't on a plane. Yeah, mate, I was out for a walk. I was out for a walk with my partner, and I saw this pop up, and I was like, my signal and WhatsApp started going off from some of the boys, and I was like, yeah, we need to go home, Lily. I need to get on and speak to the boys on YouTube and see what's going on. Live stream. This is throwbacks to the strikes in Iran in last year. Hey, very much so. But I will be interested to see if any of these choppers or anything did get intercepted. You know, there is a lot of danger if you're flying some of this stuff in, even just a man pad against a chook. You know, look at what happened in Afghan. Very, very dangerous stuff. Very, very dangerous stuff. A Chinook is very slow, massive bloody thing. Right. Strikes against the 4F barracks in the mountains overlooking the Venezuela's of Caracas, which has the museum. The Mausoleum of Venezuela's politician, revolutionary Hugo Chavez. So, strikes throughout as well. I wonder what is actually striking. I don't know enough about what these systems would be, whether it is some Tomahawk or a guided off a fighter aircraft. Someone asked, have you been in a Chinook? No, actually, I haven't been. All the helicopter work I ever did was in British Pumas. All the stuff was just on Pumas. Colin Wolf says, I wish nothing but the best for you, Willie. Thank you for the coverage on these events. If we assume the intel's correct, I like the idea of cartels for once. Cartels do absolute travesty to, especially the American population, through drugs and fentanyl, all this. But of course, the whole thing about cartels and fentanyl, this and that, is only.
Why is the screen going out?
For what we see
Fuck?
going on here.
I'm just gonna restart everything again. Why not?